Thank you for joining us today for our webinar on International Scholarship for Study Abroad in 2025. We are here uh, to dive into the world of scholarships and financial aid that can turn your dream of studying abroad into a reality. So, at Maiz Education Consultancy, we have had the privilege of helping over 450 students from the Middle East and beyond as well to secure placements at the top university worldwide. We've also guided students towards opportunities of studying in tuition free, completely 100% tuition free universities of Germany and Italy, and ensure that they receive the support that they need to pursue their academic aspiration. Leading today's session is Mr. Sahil, our senior education counselor, who has played a very important role in many of these success stories. Sahil will walk you through the various scholarship programs and give you practical tips to boost your chances. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Sahil. Over to you.
All right. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and I really hope that this session is valuable to you. So let's kickstart things. Today, we're going to discuss scholarships abroad, study abroad scholarships in 2025 for students looking to go abroad next year. The agenda for today's session is going to be such. We're going to start with the types of scholarships. We're also going to go for fully funded or merit-based scholarships, what the difference between them are, and how we can apply for each of them, what the eligibility criteria is for these scholarships, some mistakes that students make while doing their scholarship applications, and some tips for writing the best possible scholarship essay. So just to give you guys an idea, when you're looking at scholarships, there are full tuition scholarships or partial scholarships as well. Full tuition meaning the entire tuition fee is waived off. Partial scholarships meaning some amount of the tuition fee is waived off for you. Now, most of these scholarships are merit-based. So when we say merit-based, it can go under four different categories. Either you can have excellent academic results, which means your grades are really good. You've done some sort of research in the past, published papers, or you've contributed to papers that have been published in the past. Or you have some sort of artistic achievements, whether it be music, theater, drama, it can be anything, but some sort of achievements, either national or international level. Or the fourth category is your athletic achievements, which means if you've played in, for example, the cluster, or if you've played in a national or international level, then you might be eligible for some sort of athletic scholarships. Now, there are some other scholarships, especially in countries like UK, Germany, Netherlands, which are need-based, which are specific for international students or underrepresented groups, and with a special focus for either location, subject, or program. So the last one, when it's a special focus for a program or a location or a subject, that basically means that there's a demand for that specific field in that country. And so they're open to giving scholarships for those programs. So just to walk you guys through a few of the scholarships that have been launched for 2025 that are still available for applications. We'll walk through each country one by one. So in the UK, we have several different scholarships, and each university typically has their own scholarships that they award their students. Now that can be merit-based, that can be for early applications, that can be also for, I mean, when it comes to merit-based, there are four different categories as well. So it depends on which category you fall under. Now, there are also some location specific and nationality specific scholarships as well that are awarded in the UK. Just to walk you guys through a few of these, University of Bristol offers a scholarship of up to £20,000. So £20,000 when you convert it to AED comes around 90,000 dirham, which is quite a large sum. The Goldsmith International Response Scholarship, for example, covers your accommodation up to £8,825 per year and free tuition. Now, typically, your accommodation in the UK is going to come up to around 5,000 to 6,000. So if we are covering 8,000 or or almost 9,000. That's typically your entire accommodation that is taken care of, as well as you have free tuition. The University of Exeter has an undergraduate scholarship, which allows the students to get anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 to even the entire tuition fee waived off. So again, all of these scholarships mostly are merit based. So ensure to either have a good academic record or some sort of artistic achievement or sports as well. Now, Hungary is a very interesting country when you're looking at international studies, and because they are open to scholarships for both the bachelor's and the master's level. Now, of course, you have your tuition fee education. At the same time, the unique feature about Hungary is that they also give you a stipend monthly to cover your living expense, your food, travel, accommodation, everything. So on an average, they usually give students from 100 to 110 euros per month. Now, if you convert this, as you can see, this is in HUF. HUF is your Hungarian currency. Um, so they give you around 43,700 per month. At the same time, you also get a free dormitory place, and that also comes up to around 40,000 per month. So you'll be getting both your accommodation for free as well as an allowance, accommodation, as well as your tuition expense covered. France as well has a really good scholarship scheme, similar to Hungary, but the only difference over here is, of course, the allowance is a little bit different because in France, the living expense is slightly higher. And so they give you a monthly allowance of around 1,000 to 1,200 euros. And that is awarded for the entire duration of your course. But the thing about France is they only give these scholarships for master's programs, not really for bachelor's programs. So even then, it is kind of restricted to the field of study that you're doing, whether it be science and technology, which is biology or health, mathematics, engineering, or if you're looking at humanities, then there are some language or law scholarships that are awarded to students who are looking to do it in France. But again, most of these scholarships are only for master's degree programs, not really for bachelor programs in France. Now, your tuition fees are not covered by the Eiffel program, but they are exempt from charges for when you're looking at specific courses like your scientific, cultural, or professional nature courses in a public institution. They do not have any tuition fee. Now, the scheme is called the France Excellent Eiffel Scholarship Program. Again, your international transportation, national transportation, all of that will be covered. Now, moving on, we also have some really fantastic scholarships in USA. When you're looking at USA, you have scholarships that are awarded by the university. There are also private bodies, third party agents that award scholarships to students. That can be based on, like I mentioned earlier, your sports, your extracurriculars, your artistic, or your academic profile. Just to walk you through a few scholarships that are available in the US by the universities itself, University of New Haven, sorry, has a scholarship which is fully funded for master's programs. When you're looking at the amount, they're going to give you 75% of tuition assistance and they're going to give you an hourly wage as well. University of Memphis again offers you a fully funded undergraduate and master's studies. So the University of New Haven was only for the masters, but if you're looking at the University of Memphis, they cover both undergraduate and master's programs. The University of Minnesota also offers fully funded, but again, that's only for the master's programs. They will cover your tuition costs, your living expense, travel, health insurance as well. The ACI Foundation Scholarship is a fully funded scholarship for undergraduate and master's courses. The scholarship provides anywhere from 10 to 15,000 US education stipend for tuition, residence, books, and materials. Now, in the US, it's very important to know that there are a lot of um, third-party scholarships available as well, and that applications go separate from the university applications. Applications to the university is well and good, and you can apply for the university scholarships as well. Some of them have been mentioned on the screen. But at the same time, there are a lot of other scholarships that students may not know of. But again, we will guide students as to how to apply to them, when to apply to them, because there are strict deadlines for those as well. Now, when you are eligible for a scholarship is the only time that you need to be applying. But it's also very important to note that if you receive, say, five different scholarships, you can't avail all five of them. You can only avail the one that is, you can avail only one. And typically, students avail the one that is most beneficial to them. Now, moving on, Italy is also a fantastic country when you're looking at fully funded programs, especially for international students. Now, again, only master's degree are awarded this scholarship program. There's an interesting fact we're going to show you at the end of this presentation as well. One of our students have gotten a fully funded program in Italy for architecture. So similarly, in arts, music, dance, language, cultural sources, all of these can avail the fully funded scholarship as well. There is an age limit to this, which is 28 years. If you're beyond the age of 28, then you're not eligible for these scholarships. The scholarships can be 3, 6, or 9 months, depending on the duration of the course. Also, you will get a monthly payment of 900 euros to cover your living expenses while you are there. Now, like I mentioned earlier, in some countries, there are a high demand for certain fields, for certain careers, for certain programs. And so those countries are willing to accept a lot of international students who are qualified enough and who have the potential to fill those roles in the country. And in order to do that, they do give away free tuition and some monthly allowance as well if the students are not able to sustain their living expenses. So moving forward, it's very important to note, like I mentioned earlier, your eligibility criteria. Now, some scholarships are based on your academic performance, which is your grades. Some are based on your community service that you're doing for contributing to the society as a whole. Some are your leadership qualities, your extracurriculars, your recommendations, depends on the field that you're studying in. Like I mentioned, some are in high demand by the country or by the government as well. And so they're welcoming a lot of students for this. Also, your a strong statement, a strong personal statement, that is the one that is going to convince the students. I mean, convince the application scheme as to why you are the right student for this certain scholarship. Now, I've seen a lot of scholarship essays. I've seen a lot of students trying to bag these scholarships because it is a large amount and it does wave off a huge liability to the one who is going through the course and the one who is sponsoring the course as well. So I've seen a lot of these essays, and these are some of the mistakes that I have found students make time and time again, um, despite seeing others as well. So it's very important to include your name or your address as well. When you say address, you don't have to give your entire home address, but at least where you're coming from, what your background is. But it's very important to mention these details in your scholarship essay. Number two, never submit an incomplete application. Even if they're asking for certain fields that you do not have the answers to or that is not applicable to you, mention that. Mention that it is not applicable to me or I don't have the answer for this at the moment, but never leave it blank, never leave it empty. Number three, Never be rude in your essay. You have to be accommodative, you have to be nice, you have to present yourself in the best way possible. And coming off as rude does not ensure that you're going to get the scholarship at all. You cannot say, I need this, you have to give it to me, or if not, I'm not going to be able to. You know, it's very important to come off as diplomatic, if that's the right way to put it. It's very important to be diplomatic in your scholarship essays as well. You cannot demand for anything like as if they owe you something. So never be rude. Never apply if you do not meet the eligibility criteria. There are certain requirements for each and every scholarship, and you have to meet those basic requirements before you even submit your application. Now, no one can read your application if you're going to use fancy words or fancy typefaces. Please avoid all of those. Keep it simple, keep it precise, keep it to the point. Do not make it too elaborate. Do not make it too complicated for people to actually understand what you're trying to do or what you're trying to say. Uh, Please ensure that there are no grammatical mistakes and no spelling mistakes in your scholarship application, in your scholarship essay. Check it by Grammarly, read it 5, 6 times. It's completely okay, but ensure that there are no spelling mistakes at all. Because even one spelling mistake can make or break your scholarship application. Now, here are some of the things that you should do while writing a scholarship essay. You should, this is something that I would recommend and that I recommend my students as well. Start off with, say, a quote or a story or something interesting, something that hooks their attention, something that expresses yourself as well as a person, your ideologies, your beliefs. So start with a saying, a quote, anything, and explain how that or why that resonates with you. And something that you should not do is start with your name, date, place of birth, parents' names, etc., 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 because they don't want to know all of that. You've already mentioned that in your application, in your transcripts, so you don't have to keep going on and on. Like I mentioned earlier, it's very important to say your name as well. It's very important to say your address, where you're coming from, but you don't have to repeat these things over and over again. And it's very important not to start with these things. Now, it's very important also for you to talk about your goals, what you've achieved in the past, where you see yourself in the future, how this particular scholarship or this particular course or this particular country is going to help you reach those goals in the future. Now, you will also need to explain to them and convince them of sorts that you are the right fit for this particular program, for this particular scholarship, and then they will accept you. It's very important to be as honest as you can as well. Even if you've had failures in the past, that's completely okay. It's all about shaping that and telling the right kind of story when it comes to those failures as well. What you've learned from them, how you've evolved from there, what that has taught you, how that has changed you as a person, and where you see yourself in the future. Now, also, it's very important to apply for a scholarship only if you are eligible. I've said this time and time again, and I keep saying it to all my students. Only apply to a scholarship if you are eligible. Now, you can find scholarships that you are eligible for because there are several scholarships. There are plenty of scholarships out there. So do not apply for the wrong type of scholarship. You need to see which one that you are eligible for and apply for that one. Like I mentioned earlier, always complete your application in full. If a question does not apply, note that on the application. Never leave it blank. Say this is not applicable to me, or I do not have the means to answer this at the moment. It's okay, but never leave it blank. Thirdly, always follow directions. Provide everything that is required, but do not supply items that are not required. So what this means is be concise, be to the point, Do not beat around the bush and do not tell stories that are completely irrelevant. Again, I've said say stories, say quotes. Yes, that's okay. But follow the instructions that has been mentioned in the scholarship application. Do not just go on and rambling about a whole bunch of things that might not be relevant. Also, please make copies before sending in your application so that you have a copy on file. If in case something happens to your application, you have a backup and you can always send it back to either the university or the awarding member. It's very important to stay neat throughout your entire application. Always type your application. If you must print it as well. It's completely okay, but make sure you keep copies of it. Uh, your essay needs to make a very positive impression on the application scheme, on the person awarding you the scholarship. So include your details to make your experience come alive. Who, what, when, where, how. All of these are questions that you should answer for each and every story or each and every experience that you've had in the past, so that the application scheme knows that it is you and how that has shaped you in general as a person. And all of those small, tiny details is what is going to make your application stand out from the rest. It's very important to pay attention to deadlines as well. Your eligibility criteria to know if you're eligible for the scholarship, your deadlines to apply well in advance. Now, before you submit your application, always read it one last time just to ensure that everything is on point. You have addressed all of the requirements, you have answered all of the questions, you've explained yourself in the best possible way. There are no grammatical mistakes, there are no spelling mistakes. Make copies of it and then only submit it finally to the application scheme. Uh, Again, look for, yep. If you want also, it's completely fine. We always review all of our students' applications before we submit it to the university or to the admissions team, to the application team. But again, if you do not have someone guiding you from the start to the end, please at least have your parents read it or give it to a teacher, because they would have a better idea as well. They'll be able to guide you a little bit more. But again, if possible, I will always recommend take the help of an expert because they have done several of these scholarships before, several applications in the past. They know what works, what doesn't work. So if not, at least consult with your parents or your teachers. Ask for help if you need it. Like I said, we are always here to help our students. And for us, the more scholarship they get, the better it is because that is how we know that we have completely helped them as well. Now, your application is unique to you as a person. So ensure that it is neat, timely completion, and it reflects yourself in the best possible way. Take pride in submitting your application in the best way. Now, here are some of the things to avoid and things to be wary of while submitting applications or while taking the help of external parties. Like I mentioned earlier, it's very good to take the help of outsiders because they are experts in this field of getting scholarships, of getting it accepted, fully funded, partially. It's okay. Now, if someone is promising you scholarships, then that is something to be wary about because the scholarships are not avoided by that person. The only thing that they can do is ensure that you are submitting the best possible application to the team with the highest chances of getting accepted. But at the same time, if they are promising you something, then that is not really, that's something that you need to look out. If they're asking you for a credit card number and they say that you're a finalist in some sort of competition and if you don't submit it now then you're going to miss out on the prize or something like that, Please just don't do it. Just please don't. It's not worth it. They're just gonna scam you. They're gonna take away a lot of money, and they're not gonna deliver as promised. If someone says there are some loan fees or exclusive information that they will give you if you pay them some amount, then that's something to look out for as well. If they're guaranteeing you a scholarship, like I mentioned, then that's something to look out for as well, because they cannot. Unclaimed aid myths, billions of dollars of scholarship goes to unclaimed every year, and all of those kind of gimmicks are all scam. It's not worth it. Go with someone reliable, go with someone trusted, use their help, and again, nobody can promise you these, but most often than not, you can receive scholarships if your scholarship application is done in the right way. Now, if someone says that everyone is eligible for scholarships as well, that is also something to look out for because, like I mentioned earlier, time and time again, there are eligibility criteria for each and every scholarship application. So just to recap from the start of the presentation, we mentioned when you're looking at merit based, you have your academic, you have extracurriculars, you have society, you have music, and you have your sports as well. All of these things come under your merit base. So it's not, when we say merit, it's not purely academic, but yes, most of the scholarships are academic. But even if not academic, if you've done other extracurricular activities, that can also help you be eligible. But if they say that everyone is eligible, then clearly there's something wrong with the scholarship. Now, here's a little bit about us. We are Maiz Education Consultancy. As you can see, we are a bridge between the students and the universities. We help students get placed in their dream universities wherever they want to study, whether it be in UAE or outside. We also have a lot of students confused about their future, in which we provide them guidance as to which career path will be best for them. Uh, the way I tell everyone is we like to work backwards, where we first figure out what career will be best for them. Based on that, choose what subjects you need to choose in your grade 11 or 12, and then proceed accordingly. Now, even if you complete your bachelor's and you're confused about your master's, that as well we can definitely help you with. Because some students, we've had students who have done, say, psychology come to us and they've shifted to business or they shifted to something science related. It really depends on what your end goals are. And we will guide you through the entire thing. We also shortlist universities for you. We help you create your SOP, your CV, any sort of test preparation, your university applications. We also help with accommodation. We also do the entire visa application for the students as well. And this entire session is about scholarships. So we bag our students scholarships also. Now, here are some of, this is the process that we do. We have the initial consultation, we give you guidance, we shortlist universities, we do the applications, scholarships, acceptance, visa, accommodation, pre-departure, post-arrival, and we also connect you to alumni of that university or of that specific course before you travel to that university, whichever you have chosen. These are some of the students who have bagged some fantastic scholarships through Maiz Education Consultancy. We have Rifat Mohammed, who is going to go to Germany this spring intake. He's going to do a master's of science in artificial intelligence. This is an English taught program in Germany, zero tuition fees. BTU is ranked as one one of 106 universities included in the university multi-rank for Germany. Germany public universities do provide free tuition fee courses as well, both in the bachelor's and the master's programs. And we help several students get into these both master's and bachelor's programs. Rifat is just one of the prime examples because he was very particular about what course he wanted to do. He's already done a bachelor's in artificial intelligence and he wanted to do a master's in the same with a specialization in computer vision, which is the course that he got. We also have Fatima Al Azawi. Uh, so she's one of the students that came to us well in advance as well. She is from Iraq. She settled over here. She went to AUS in Dubai, in Sharjah, did her undergraduate over there in architecture, and she's gotten accepted into 100% scholarship for a master's degree in Italy. The master's degree is Architecture and City Sustainability at University of Parma. Now, the University of Parma is one of the top public universities in Italy. We submitted, I think, around five applications for her, and she got accepted to four of those courses. And three of those that she got accepted to were all 100% scholarships for her master's degree. She's also started her course and she's very happy with it. And she's also referred some of her friends to us to do courses that they're interested in. We also have Trisha. Trisha is again from India. She did her IB curriculum. She went to India to do her bachelor's, and now she's going to Berlin. She got 8,000 euros as scholarship. Now, this is a partial scholarship, but it kind of covers the entire tuition fee, almost the entire tuition fee for her master's degree. She wanted to do an MA design. For this, we personally reached out to the university. We showed them Trisha's case, we showed them Trisha's profile, and we convinced them that she is the best fit for this particular course. And because of that, they also awarded her 8,000 scholarship. Now, this was actually a one-off case for the university. They don't usually give such large amounts of scholarship, but because we approached them in the right way, we were able to convince them that yes, Trisha deserves this and she's the right fit for this role. We also have Shaurya Khurana, who's gone to the UK to do his undergraduate studies. Again, we applied to five universities through the UCAS. He got accepted to all five of them. He is. We also applied to Germany as well, to the UAE. He got accepted to BSBI in Germany. He got accepted to EU Business School as well. And right now, he has gone in for his bachelor's in Queen Mary University of London. Well, thank you so much for attending today's webinar.